Luckily, all those who caused the confusion, all of us are still there. We are still part of the leadership today because we created this confusion. We brought this country to where it is. Whether you go, the governors were the people who refuse. The Senate president is the governor before. Those, all the actors, whether in federal government, legislature, everything, and all those who created the confusion. So if they truly believe that they are sorry for what all of us did, let us today agree and amend the constitution to save 10%. Well, if we do that, this country will be able to save about $1 billion. Because if people can believe their story, then they will create hope. Economy, for me, is driven by hope. Because once people can see hope, then they will have faith and confidence.
Right.
I always see economy as going to church. I'm a Christian. I go to church because the pastor, the priest is always preaching that we're going to heaven. Nobody has been there. It's all about selling hope. And because there's hope, there's faith in me. What the enduring part of hope, what drives the enduring part of it is faith. It is what gives it, okay, we're going to do this, and if we do this, this is going to happen and everything. People have to see the commitment. What you see today is a bit of lack of coordination in the thinking process and especially in communication. And when you have a bit of lack of coordination in communication, you create a sense of hopelessness. You bring fear in the system, and everybody will run for cover. Hey, you go to church on Sunday, and the pastor says, there's no heaven. So why are you there again? You go home. You know? People need to know, see it, yeah, you can say, oh, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, but what is missing there is a sense of driving hope. If you look at the strong economies of the world, it's not as if they're perfect. What is there is that they're preaching hope. Just like I said, you go to church, they're telling you, if you do this, you go to heaven, you do this and everything. And that is what is driving that process. There needs to be a sense of, oh, if this is what we are going, we all believe in it. Will it show me a perfect economy? There's none. It is just that people are selling hope, which is giving faith, is a enduring part of it, to stay on and say, well, if this is going to happen, I'm going to be part of this. It is not just enough to say this. There's other issues that needs to be managed. And I keep saying communication, coordination in communication is critical. Today there seems to be different informations coming to the table. You know, I said this at one time that there was a time somebody said we're in technical recession, we'll be out of it in September. In September, said this last quarter, then suddenly said, no, I don't know when it's going to be. Well, if you're in that state, you run for cover. Vision, if you listen to Theresa May yesterday, is nothing if it's not seen through. And to see it through, you have to have committed drivers of that vision. Vision in itself does not change anything. It doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't educate the children. What makes a difference in any vision or in any policy, any system, is the people that drives it. Same thing in the subnational. Is for people to sit down and say, wait a minute, what are we doing? If you go to most of the states, and I use a case in point when I had to go, there's no plan. If you don't have a plan, you have
That's
plan
what
to
you
fail.
inherited as well.
Yeah, if you don't have a plan, you have a plan to fail. I was the person that created Ministry of Economic Planning. You ask people in education, what are you doing? They say, oh, they're just here. People in housing, what are you doing? So when we looked at all that, we found out that basically there's something lacking. And all we did was very simple. And that is what I advocate for people today. We went and borrowed a well-thought, call it development agenda, from the UN called MDG. Because today you see people say 3-point agenda, 1-point agenda, 7-point agenda. There's confusion everywhere. There's already an articulated agenda that if you follow it, you do a lot of work. We went and borrowed what the MDG and put that forward as our vision. All we did was to develop a strategy for delivery of all MDG goals. And we christened what we call Anambra Integrated Development Strategy. It was only a process that allowed us to plan properly across all the MDG goals, budget properly, ensure execution. We moved our budget from being supply-driven to demand-driven. So we went to the people and said, what can we do? Because if you look at the MDG goals, it says fight extreme poverty, education, health, everything that you need to do. And because we're able to plan properly across all the MDG goals, budget properly, we could see the budget gaps that we were able to approach development partners to assist us and everything. And we can look at where to cut costs in order to put here, because why do we want to have to do this? If I tell you, like an education, why do we have to have an office of the governor that was consuming 15% of our budget?
15%?
About that, yes, about that. 15% of our budget.
Only for the office of the governor?
Oh, yeah, and a lot of things. You know, there's a lot of things included in that office. Also of, AIDS, security vote, everything. What would survive us? I said, no. We have to move this to education. It's happening today. If you look at the situation where people are saying today they cannot access here, you beg money. It happened when we were there. So we collapsed the office of the governor. And we're able to use the resources there to put in health, to put in here and everything. So once you have a proper planning, proper budgeting, you could see the gaps you're going to shut down and do this. Right. See, for me, if you have a situation like we had now, the first thing is to look back and say, how did we arrive at this? It's a critical thing. Unexamined life is not worth living. You must be able to look back and say, what did I do wrong yesterday that made me to be where I am now? And if you accept that you've made fundamental mistakes yesterday, and you're determined and correct same today, you have a better tomorrow. What we're now looking at, how did we arrive here? Let me take issue of one thing, savings. Nigeria discovered oil in 1960. Since 1960. Every other nation that was as lucky as we are, the first thing they tried to do is to bring in a form of saving of a percentage of the income from that. Nigeria chose the other side to consume everything. One is that no country in the world with a diminishing assets, because every natural resource is a diminishing asset. You will finish one day, have refused or is operating without the savings, except us. We decided that whatever we get will be shared immediately and everybody takes his own and run, because there's no...
But that decision is dictated by the current laws, I believe.
That is what I'm saying.
Does that now
that's what I'm
call
saying,
for a review of those
That's
laws?
what I'm saying. So from 1960 to now, we have earned only 1.3 trillion in oil. If only our fathers didn't make a decision to save just 10%, would have had about 130 billion, which by the time you put all that interest and profits, it would be about 250 billion today.
And we'll be in a good place.
No, we won't be talking now. It would have been a totally different thing. Our children, the younger ones, will have hope of what I'm saying about their country. But today, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. But what is more worrisome, only every successive government blames the other for not saving. Shagari blamed Gowon for not saving. Obasanjo's military government blamed Shagari for not saving. When Buhari then came, before they blamed, they've been a blame game. You even saw President Obasanjo there saying, the governors did not allow me to save. President Buhari said they didn't allow you to. Okay, we've all agreed that we did not save yesterday. That's why we're here today. What are we doing today to make sure that tomorrow we're not in the same blame game? Are we going to debut our children blame and regret? No. We have a constitution that says every revenue received should be credited into federation account and shared across the 3 tiers of government. That constitution and section should be today, now, when I'm saying now, this period, be taken back to the National Assembly immediately with an amendment that says forthwith we will save 10% of every revenue, irrespective of our situation, just for a start. Well, if we do that today, luckily, all those who caused the confusion, all of us are still there. We're still part of the leadership today because we created this confusion. We brought this country to where it is. Whether you go, the governors were the people who refuse. The Senate president is a governor before. Those, all the actors, whether in federal government, legislature, everything, and all those who created the confusion. So if they truly believe and they are sorry for what all of us did, let us today agree and amend the constitution to save 10%. Well, if we do that, this country will be able to save about $1 billion every year, just $1 billion. If we had done that, if we do that, by the year 2060, 44 years from today, Wole would have saved $44 billion. If you aggregate it at a 5% every year, we'll be hitting about 150 billion. Their story will be different.
So the culture really needs to change.
But today, everybody is still complaining and keeping quiet, and tomorrow we'll still say, hey, if this man had done, let's start now.